Thank you, thank you. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Familiar faces.
What does it mean to be back here after all this time?
It means a lot, bringing back a lot of memories, that's for sure. Even just walking through the building, it's just like so many memories pouring out of me. This is where I got my start. This is the team that believed in me and gave me the opportunity to live out my dream. And, here we are, all these years later, and they still believe in me, still giving me the opportunity to live out my dream. So, I'm one of those guys that love this game so much, I kind of have to wake up and pinch myself, like, is this real? I still get to play football, but I feel like I'm still good at it, still dominant, and I feel like I can really help this team. A lot of talent all over the place, and, I feel like, the value I could bring is going to make a big difference, at least I hope so. So, roll up my sleeves and, get my hands dirty and do the best I can.
Calais, was it always the goal to come back here at some point, or did you want to come back here at some point?
I try to stay present and not really think about, things that could happen, but this place always had a place in my heart, right? This is, where it all started in 9 years. It's a long time, be anywhere. That's a career by itself, and so, I've always, had a lot of love. And I didn't really start thinking about coming back, officially, really let myself think about that until, last year, at the trade deadline, they were one of the teams that tried to trade for me. And so it started kind of getting in my head, dang, that would be cool to go back to Arizona, and in this offseason, a lot of teams were interested, but when we got, talking about, all the different possibilities and stuff, this one just kept coming up, and, amongst all my, support system and family and everything else, it just made a lot of sense, and, I'm really happy to be here.
Does it feel like it's been this 18 years, 18th season?
Yeah. You feel every one of them, but it's just a different perspective, a different, vision. When I was young, just all the way through it, going through the whole process, I just got so much smarter each year and every year, so much more knowledge, so much, better way of understanding how to do things. And, so 18, it feels like 18 because of, just because it's a lot of time, a lot of effort, but I still feel, dominant. I still feel like I can change ball games. I just can't play 75 plays a game, I used to, the first time around, I don't think I came off the field other than a drive or two, and now it's, much more of a, I can give you 35 quality plays. Those are going to be grade A plays. You start getting to that 40, 50, it's, still going to be good, but, we got to be smart.
What do you think has been the secret to your longevity and successful longevity at that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's really a secret, but I've had a lot of health, right? That's in God's hands. You can't really do much about that. That's just, I've been 14 games in my career. It's not a lot, less than one a year. So, but I think I do take care of my body. I take care of my body very well. A lot of, just trying to figure out, all the best people that I can work with to help me be available, because the best ability is availability. And, shout out to my team. They do a great job. I've really found some great people over the years and continue to work with them. And once they kind of learn your body, they can do they just kind of know how you're supposed to feel when something's off, start getting extra treatment before it becomes a big deal. So all that stuff really plays a big role. And then I think it's just the love of the game, right? I'm still willing to put the work in to be good at it, because it is hard, It's not easy, going through the off-season program and trying to, get yourself, physically ready to go. That's the hardest part, honestly. And so, it's just the mental, you have to love it enough to want to go through that fire. And so, I've been going through that fire consistently. I know exactly, what I need to do, and it's been working. The formula is pretty clear, pretty concrete, and so hopefully we can do it one more time.
What's it been like for you to accept that you are a 30-35 play a game guy instead of a 40-45, 50, 60, 70 play?
That was kind of a hard realization. It kind of happened gradually. It didn't happen right away, there is a level of just competitiveness where I feel like I can still dominate full ball game. And I'm sure if it was like a playoff game or like one of those big games and it was needed, I would do an okay job. But I know that for me to be effective for a full year, I got to be smart. And after playing 35 plays, I feel great. After the game, I feel like like go take care of my body. I feel like a regular how I've always felt after games. So I'm playing like 45. I'm like, dang, I feel so drained. So it is a lot of that is just biology, right? Where I feel so.
Are you somebody? Are you now going through? You end a year and then you consider things. I mean, have you had a long-term idea that I want to play this number of years, or I'm going to play this on? Like, how has that gone for you?
Yeah, I remember when I was in I think it was like year 8. When I was young, I said I want to play 15 years, because that's what I think like a lot of the Hall of Famers I studied were doing. And I was like, 15 years would be an incredible career. And then when I got to like 7 or 8, I was like, I think I might got 10, maybe 12 in me. And so I'm shocked I'm still playing too. But I just love the game so much, I'm still good at it. And so it's like, why not? It's the best job in the world. Sign me up for I want to, I say this kind of lightly because, everything is in this year and I don't want to worry about anything after that. Just I can't, everything is right now. But I've always said right until the wheels fall off, but that is a little bit of a little stretch because it's just 1 year at a time, dedicate myself, stay present, stay in the moment, and we'll figure out whatever comes in the future when that time comes.
Lance, with all that being said, is it important to you to join a team that you view as a contender?
Yeah. It's funny because every time I've been to a championship game, I don't think there's ever a preseason like, this team's going to be, in the championship game. It's always like, it's other teams, right? Everybody's hyping other teams. And so, nobody ever really knows, right? Everybody, you guys have a job to do and you have to project and all that stuff. That's part of it. But, I think, I try to study it as best I can and get a feel for who I think can make a run. There's a lot of factors that go into that. But I believe this team can make a run. I wouldn't have come here if I didn't think that was the case.
What about this defense excites you? Obviously, you probably know a few guys on the line, and then there's a lot of young players too.
Yeah, a lot of talent, and then Coach Gannon is a brilliant defensive mind. He's just, a really good schemer. And so, he knows how to utilize talent. And, you look at across, bringing in, Thompson, bringing in Sweat, the guys they drafted over the last couple of years, the D-line, it's very exciting, and then you still got the studs like Budda Baker, he's, one of the, best safeties in the game, has been for a long time, just pure playmaker, and then, even on the offensive side of the ball, you got so much talent all over the place, I feel like, I played against, when I was at the Dolphins last year, I played against the Cardinals and we ended up losing, and I just remember dang, this team is way more talented than people give them credit for, and, it's good to see it firsthand when you play against them. And, last year I felt like they were really hot, and then, kind of just stumbled late, whatever, but I felt like a lot of that, I feel like the value I can bring can really make a big difference here. I think, I take a lot of pride in being a value adder, and trying to make my teammates around me better. And I feel like I can do that here. So I'm really excited about the opportunity.
After it comes to leadership, how big a part of that do you consider your job description? How much of that do you know?
Yeah, it's kind of been who I am anyway, right? I don't think I can go somewhere and not be that, right? I've been a captain at all levels, everywhere I've been, and so, but it's a big part of it, it's a huge part of it. I know when GMs and, decision makers are looking for me to come into a building, they know that I come with a lot of leadership capabilities and a prestige that a lot of the young guys respect, which is really cool, and so I don't take that lightly. I take that with a lot of pride, and I try to do the best I can, and I've always been a servant leader, right? So I want to just help guys, really good one-on-one, working with younger guys, helping them elevate the game, watching tape, learn how to take care of their bodies, stuff outside of football, and then in the group setting, talking to the team, trying to inspire guys to, give me their best, and be the best version of themselves, At the end of the day, when you make a run, it's because you're playing good ball. You're in sync, you're locked in, you're playing together, and that's what matters. And you know, that camaraderie comes from time together. So, you know, I'm excited for that.
What's it like coming back here without any teammates that you played with?
It's unique. Yeah, it's unique. But, I mean, I've been around a lot, and I know a bunch of the guys already. I mean, it's a fraternity, the NFL as a whole. So it's not like I don't know anybody. I mean, you know, I've met Kyler quite a few times. I mean, Buddha, you know, Collins. You know, I mean, Beacham's almost as old as me. You know, you know. But even like, I mean, you know, the Paris Johnson kid. I mean, I've come across so many guys, and so like, you know, I mean, it doesn't feel like I don't really know anybody. It doesn't feel like it's like a foreign place. I mean, it feels like home.
Have you talked to Justin Jones about 93 yet?
Not yet. We haven't had a conversation yet. You know, but he's another guy that I know, you know, fairly well, and we've trained together in years past and stuff for a few weeks, and so we have a relationship. You know, so it's a conversation, something to figure out. You know, just a little too soon right now, but you know, we'll work through it, figure it out.
How much have you kept tabs on the team since your departure, and especially just since the new regimes came in?
I'm a football fan, so I pay attention to everything. I'm literally a fan that is lucky enough to play it. You know, I follow everything, but especially for teams I've been, because, you know, it's just, you know, you have much more of an attachment. So, you know, I followed a lot. You know, I feel like it's, you know, kind of been, you know, like everything else, you know, up and down, ebbs and flows, roller coaster. But I feel like this team is poised for a breakout year. And, you know, I mean, obviously everybody says that. You know, it really doesn't matter what you say this time of year, it's what you do. But, you know, I see a lot of action being done, and, you know, I think this team is poised.
Kyler said you should have never left. He posted that on Instagram when he was signing. But, you know, what does it mean to see, you know, your franchise quarterback say that?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, I mean, it's nice being wanted. You know, like this game, you go and give everything to it, and when other people see that and want you to be around, that means a lot. You know, I mean, I think the greatest, you know, sign of respect is when your peers respect you. You know, and I actually remember Chris Carter telling me this when I was a young buck, but he said, play the game in such a way that the ghost of the game will be proud of you. You know, they'll be proud of the way you played it. And so, you know, I mean, now that I'm towards the end of it, you know, but I've always tried to play the game in a way where everybody who plays the game understands what it takes to go into it, respects the way I played the game. It's always been a motivation of mine.
Calais, with it feels like the last 2-3 years you were becoming a free agent, or maybe when you might be traded, all the fans here wanted to have you back, and finally they're getting that. Like, what does that mean to you, and just the idea of coming back to a fan base that clearly has loved you even from afar?
It's been incredible. You know, I mean, this fan base is, I mean, one of the best, you know, in any sport, you know, across the whole world. You know, I mean, the memories I have in this place, you know, the love the fans have given me over the years, it's been incredible. You know, and even after I left and I came back as an opponent, you know, I mean, I remember that first time coming back, you know, when I was in Jacksonville and like going down, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know what kind of love I was going to get. And I mean, I felt so much love. I mean, I literally was like filled with emotion, you know, way more than I realized I would have been, you know, because I try to, you know, keep everything like in the moment, not really get too emotional, stay, you know, logic based and process driven. But nah, that was tough, you know, and you know, we ended up losing the game, but I ended up scoring a touchdown in that corner where I was, he called it like Calais' corner, and the amount of love that was just, you know, pouring out for me was incredible, and I'll never forget that, you know, all my life. And you know, even when I came back, you know, when I was with Atlanta, you know, same concept, you know, although at that time I felt a little bit more, you know, I was more prepared, I was a little more ready for it, but just a lot of good memories. And I train here in the off season a lot of times, so I still go out in the community, and I mean, just the love I get, you know, man, we would love for you to come back, you know. So, you know, I've heard that for years, you know, so many times, and so now that it's finally here, it feels good to be back.
Thanks, Calais.
Thanks.
Welcome back, man.
Thank you.